Well, can I just take it back a little bit? You see, when you look at the criminal code, which is where all the criminal activity is being labeled, there are probably 3 or 4 laws that will affect you and me directly. No killing, no sexual assault, no battery, no assault and battery, that sort of thing. Okay? Attacks to the person. The rest of it, of the criminal code, is all about property crime. So if 98% of the criminal code is based on property crimes, and if I don't own a damn thing, am I being protected by this? Of course not. The criminal code itself is to reflect a certain system, the way it operates. It will protect the rich, it will protect the big one against the little one. Okay? In this case, we're talking about the government against a little one. The little one in this case is your child. It's not being protected at all. To assume, to even think that the government or people in government are going to be the ones that you can trust with your child, you're just kidding yourself. Don't forget that the government, these are the same guys who are in charge of paving the roads, okay?
And speaking about law, I wonder if you can comment on the fact that social workers that work for the Ministry of Children and Family don't have to abide by the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act.
Because they look at themselves as being about the law.
They are.
And that's pure and simple.
Yeah, they don't need proof of any allegations.
And you see when you have
and they
deep
can
pockets,
disclose information about me, say I'm the client,
Sure.
they can disclose information about me, my mom, my dad, my best friend, anybody, you know.
So just as the
without-
criminal code is rigged for the rich, the whole family court system is rigged to the guys working in there, right? So when you have a lawyer against a lawyer, when you walk into a courtroom, in our society we don't get justice. We get a lawyer who won over another one, and the one who gets the most money, that's the one who wins. So you don't get justice. You just get a good performance, a highly paid lawyer, providing a good performance in court to beat another one that came from legal aid. So that's not justice.
And it's all perspective, I keep being told by lawyers.
And then when you walk into a family court, here you are with nothing but your version of the story against a whole machinery from the ministry.
Yeah, it is all perspective. We were in court, me and Alvin were in court trying to get a protection hearing set up for one of my children, and the judge said, okay, we'll go to a protection hearing. The ministry's lawyer tried to fight it. She said, no, we don't want that, we want a case conference. And I said, no, my daughter's due to have a baby any day, I want a protection hearing. So the judge said, go ahead and order it. So that should have been ordered 45 days later, which would have been April 27th or 29th. So the ministry's lawyer went to went into the office to book the date. I went outside, and when I came back in, the ministry's lawyer said, oh, I booked the date, here you go. She gave me my slip of paper. I went home, I never looked at it. And then all of a sudden I realized, yeah, it's booked for the right date, but it's a case conference. I was so choked. I went right back into the courtroom. I said, you know, I saw her when I was on my way in. I said, I thought you were going to book a protection hearing. She said, no, that's not what the judge said we were supposed to do. I said, she did say that, and we were supposed to have one in 45 days. By the time we went into the court, and the judge said, oh, well, you know, I told the judge that the other judge had said only, you know, book a protection hearing, but she couldn't do anything about it. So we got to the case conference, and the judge said, well, this was a huge waste of time. Book a protection hearing. You know, so then it was another however long, I don't even remember now.
Can I give you an illustration of what really happens with social services? Put this bottle here. Scientifically speaking, if I'm looking at the bottle from here, I could read that it says the taste of purity, and you're probably reading something totally different from my side. Does that mean that your side of the bottle is another bottle? Aren't we talking about the same bottle? But from a different angle. So that's your child, that's the case. We've got a case coming up. Both sides have the same power, the same strength. I'm reading from this end, you're reading from that end, but we're talking about the same bottle. But I will say to you, if I were working for the ministry, no, it says it tastes of purity because I own the damn bottle. Right?
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with it. When it comes to science and When it comes to human relations, everyone's opinion is equal to the other one. Everyone has the right to express what they see. They cannot see what you're seeing from that end.
When you deal with child psychology, though, you learn to look into the heart and soul of a young child, and you look at their potentials, and you bring out their potentials, and that is what makes a good teacher. But you don't see this. You don't see into the heart and the soul and the mind and how that person is functioning to bring out
It's
the
funny
best
now
in them.
everyone looks at the bottle as if it's a child.
Well, yeah.
But that's the whole
Now
point.
it's going to be our symbol of a child.
It's that when you read a story, whoever wrote it is just an interpretation of what they saw.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to your home, I'm going to have a different view of your home than your own view.
Mm-hmm.
So who's right? We are both right.
That's the thing about social workers is they go ahead and make judgments based on what.
And it's still an old an old dualistic concept of what is right and what is wrong and what is good and what is bad, and you have to break from that patterning. It's the first thing we learned in childcare in New Zealand, was to break from the duality.
So what would happen if you were to simply shift the whole model of social work into those three key questions? You take on a case, you ask the child, what do you want?
I
want to go home.
Exactly.
The second question is, how would you get home? By convincing you that this is what happened. I use the word convincing very guardedly, okay? Because you need to convince these people. But essentially the child wants to go home. And he would say, how I go about it? Well, I'll be good and I'll do this and I'll do that. The third question would be simply from the social worker to ask, how do I help you get there? Not to a foster home, but to your home. That's the essentials change that is
I
required.
can see my kids saying, you can drive me.
Yeah, exactly.
Take me there right now.
I'll
In
pack my
some
bag.
instances, though, like if social workers did ask that, how will you get to where you want to be? I mean, maybe if it's the parent they're asking, they might say, well, I need some rehab, or I need some help
Parenting
with
skills,
this,
sure.
parenting skills,
Sure.
whatever the parent says. Instead of having this confrontational, a social worker will say, if you don't agree with me on what's wrong with you, then you're not taking responsibility for your problems. And then you think to yourself, maybe I'm not the good parent that I thought I was. Maybe I should take responsibility. Maybe I am like that and I can't see it. You start to believe that you're this
become victimized.
crappy ass loser that doesn't deserve to be a parent. And then you get to a stage where you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I never was like that. I'm not admitting to that. Forget it.
See,
and then they take your kids away for good,
See, it's really interesting that you use the word responsibility again, because it means being able to respond. Okay? It doesn't mean I'm going to be judged by what I said. I'm just going to be able to tell you, yes, I did that.
Or
And
yes,
then
I
the
need
professional,
this.
yeah, and then the
Exactly.
professional answer is, okay, now that we know you did that, how do we fix it?
Because social workers are supposed to be a resource for us. They're supposed to be a resource for the people,
But I feel there's a mentality in society itself, because a lot of people who make the phone call to the social workers saying they're concerned about these people, the social workers go in there and take the children, and these people have no idea that they've just caught up these monsters to take this family's children, and these children are getting raped and cared, they're running away, they're being victimized and neglected and traumatized.
Prostitution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a...
Child slavery.
It sounds like it's a misnomer, social workers, because they do a lot of socializing.